How much of my dream home can I afford, or can I really afford my dream home? To answer these two questions, you need to ask and answer these five questions. Welcome back to Matters Real Estate. This is Q&A session, and stick around and stay tuned, and be sure to subscribe and like my videos. Some people live while others merely exist, and this is what we feel when we see those fantastic homes that people live in. And some people have it all, and this is what we tell ourselves when you are in that neighborhood that is eye-catching. So when it comes to buying a home, daydreaming is just the beginning of that long process, and there are questions that people never ask themselves when it comes to owning a home. And the top of the list would be, how much can I pay for that dream home? Or can I really afford my dream home? And like I've said before, you can answer those two questions. You need to ask and answer yourself these five questions. And the question number one would be, what are my mandatory monthly expenses? So everyone working, or each working professional, they have their monthly obligations that they must be taken care of, come what may. For example, for families, it might be food, shelter, school fees, and rent. For young professionals, it might be rent and payment of student loans or any other expenses. The key is to make a list of expenses that belong to you and how they should be paid. So before you decide on if you can afford that home, you need also to know your monthly expenses so that you can be able to know what is available for you to afford or not to afford. And on question number two that you need to ask yourself is, who are my dependents? Who relies directly on my income and would be adversely affected if it were not there? These are dependents such as family members, and their requirements need to be factored in. This is because the quality of their life is directly affected by our financial input or lack thereof. So note down each dependent's periodic requirements and how much they plan to handle them as they fall due. So if you are planning on this house ownership or home ownership journey, you need to know how many people are under your care, so that as you commit your finances, you ensure that their needs are also budgeted for. And on question number three that you need to ask yourself is, how much disposable income do I have? And disposable income in this case is that part of your earnings that has no obligations. For example, in this case, it may be that amount that remains after you deduct all your monthly obligations and the dependence requirements. And any home financing plan should never exceed the amount of the disposable income to ensure that you have a stress-free home loan repayment. And in this case is that if you are planning to take a mortgage, the monthly repayment should be within your disposable income. Otherwise, you will not have a stress-free repayment period. You need to have those repayments that are within your budget or within your disposable income. And this, like I've said, your dependents need to be well catered for, so that whichever option that you choose to go by, they don't suffer or their lifestyle don't change in that process. And on question number four that you need to ask yourself is, how much am I willing to pay monthly? And in this case is that you may not want to utilize all your disposable income for your own financing, depending on your unique needs and requirements. So the main question is here, how much do I want to repay for my loan each month from the money that remains after I deduct my expenses and the expenses of my dependents? And this also depends on the home that you wish to purchase. So be sure to calculate and have in mind the amount of money that you want to pay each and every month. And this ensures that you have a smooth sailing repayment experience for your mortgage. And the last question that you want to ask yourself is, what if times or what if things change? And this seems to be a pessimistic question, but it's a very wise question to ask, because life is never constant and life is full of unexpected changes. And after all, it is better to be forewarned and to be forearmed. And some of the difficult questions that you need to pose can be, what if I'm not able to pay, or what if I'm not able to continue to make my repayments, or what arrangements are in place in case the worst should happen. This is why many home loans have various insurance covers, so that the home acquisition journey ahead can be made as smooth as possible. So after you've asked yourself all those questions, now you should be well on your way to having your very own realistic picture of the house that you can afford. And as for where you can find it, working with a real estate or with a professional agent can ensure that you don't walk alone, and your journey will be as easy as smooth sailing. So these are the questions that you need to ask yourself, because every time we as real estate professionals, we meet people who get stuck along the way, and in one way or the another, it's because of some of these questions that they never ask themselves before they embark on that home ownership journey. So be sure to do enough research and to ask yourself relevant and all the questions that need to be factored in before you start the home ownership journey. So thank you so much for watching this video and staying tuned to my channel. Stick around for much and more of this content concerning real estate.